Okay, so that gives you a pretty good idea of what it's like where they live. You got to see where they carve, they have for lunch, and see how their masks are used. Now is a good time if you have some questions you want to ask the artist, you raise your hand.
Can I just sorry Pat, one question per student, okay? So once you've asked a question, don't put your hand back up so that everybody will have a chance. Is that good? Sound fair?
You thought it was a sword? No, that's actually a special tool that you use for the color. The other one kind of looks like a sword, but it's a special tool.
How many hours does it take to carve a mask?
Okay, how many hours does it take to carve a mask? ¿Cuántas horas lleva para hacer una máscara?
Pues como esta va a llevar 5 horas, pero hay máscaras más complicadas que duramos hasta, por decir, 15 días en hacer. O sea, unas 5 horas por día trabajando.
Saying this mask is going to take him about 5 hours to carve. But he said there's some masks that take him 2 weeks to carve. And that's carving 5 hours every day. So it really depends how complicated the mask is. At Margaritas, we're going to be at Margaritas tomorrow night from 4 o'clock till 9 o'clock. So if you want to come back, come to Margaritas, and they have all these cool things here to sell. Or if you want to tell your parents about them, they want to go meet the artist, we'll be at Margaritas tomorrow.
Is there a letter tomorrow?
Tomorrow, at 4 o'clock. Not tonight, it's tomorrow.
I said tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, yes. ¿Esas son todas las herramientas que ocupan ustedes?
Pues aquí están, por decir, pocas herramientas. En el taller tenemos como 100, pero muchas parecidas, nada más de diferentes tamaños.
So right here, this is what they have for this tour, but in their workshop in Mexico, they have 100 tools of different sizes and shapes. Yes. Yeah, sometimes it can take a long time. Like this one here? Not pretty? Yes, Wes.
How do they hold the masks on their face?
Good question. How do they hold the masks on the
Because
face?
these don't have...
¿Cómo se arreglan las máscaras en las danzantes?
Tienen 4 agujeros las máscaras, se amarran por la parte de atrás, una en la parte de arriba y otra parte de abajo. Pero van hasta unidas, hace una lazada de un lado para poder el danzante quitar y poner. ¿Cómo se pone?
Sí, sí. ¿Y adentro pone algo?
Se pone, por decir esto nada más, para atrás, se pone un pañuelo grande para los lados.
What they do is they cover the dancer covers their head with like an old shirt or some cloth, and then they have 2 holes on the top of the mask and 2 holes down at the bottom of the mask, and actually tie them onto the person's head. They use string, sometimes you use elastic, and you just hold it on nice and tight. Yes?
How do they get to Mexico all the way to Maine?
That's a good question.
How do they get from Mexico all the way to Maine? ¿Cómo llegaron aquí desde México hasta...?
Primero viajamos en autobús 4 horas de nuestra casa a Guadalajara, de Guadalajara para acá en avión 2 veces. Guadalajara, Dallas y Dallas, Boston.
Y de Boston.
Y de Boston aquí avión.
Okay, from their village, they have to take a bus. 4 hours from their village to Guadalajara, which is a big city in Mexico. Then they went to the airport in Guadalajara, flew from Guadalajara to Dallas, Texas, got off the plane, and then they switched to planes, and they got another plane that went to Boston, and then we drove from Boston
And
to
that was
Oregon.
my old dog's name, Boston.
Oh, her dog's name is
So you
Boston.
go- So that's how they got here. It's a long way, isn't it? So you have to go on a bus, on a plane, lots of modes of transportation. Bus, plane, and a car. Yes. How many masks have you carved? ¿Cuántas máscaras han hecho ustedes?
Pues, tal vez pensando unas 50 por año, como unas 1000.
He says he does about 50 a year, so over 1,000 masks. that he's carved. How many schools have they been to? ¿Cuántas escuelas han visitado ustedes?
Ahora, o en todo el tiempo.
Bueno, entonces, bien.
Pues, ¿qué será? Unas buenas como unos 20 cada año.
Bueno, he said this time, last week we visited 2 schools in Connecticut, so this is our first stop here in Maine. Probably last time they were up here, like 20 schools. So this trip we're going to visit 14 schools when they're up here. So for everywhere from as far south as Connecticut, and this is as far north as we go.
Yay.
What metal is their tools made of?
What metal is their tool? Are the tools made of? ¿De qué material es o tipo de acero usan las herramientas?
Es muelle de carro, de muelle de carro que van recortando los herreros, van recortando y haciendo diferentes herramientas. Por decir, esto sería una parte de la muelle, esto sería otra, pero van recortando y forjando.
What they do is they take old car, the chassis from a car, the steel of a car, and then the blacksmith will heat it up and pound it out to make the tools. Ever look underneath the car where you see there looks like long strips of steel, like the suspension? I think that's where some of the tools come from. These here? Yeah, they carve, they and the brothers have carved these. Like here's one of them. It's an armadillo with a face on it. Here's what they call the lobo feroz, big bad wolf. And they have all sorts of ones. Like here's one. Here's a pretty one of a tiger. Like that. And the hair, the whiskers, are made from the hair from a wild pig. Well,
Can you see the thing that's eating a snake, like, by that jar?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an owl with a snake in its mouth. Well, you know what? We'll give you a chance to come up a little closer so you can look at those.
Oh, yeah, so we are getting close, Pat. And so maybe with this group, believe it, this went fast, didn't it? Did you come at 12:30?
No, 12:40.
Oh, so what time do we have until?